The Generals of the Yang Family, Chapter 18.
Picture the scene. You are a general in the middle of a massive war. You're camped out on the border, and you're surrounded by this hostile terrain. The enemy army is literally screaming at the gates, a force that has been terrifying your country for decades.
Right. It's a high-stakes situation.
Exactly. So you walk into the war room to plan the defense, and you realize something absolutely terrifying. The person most likely to kill you isn't the barbarian warlord outside with the axe. It is your own boss.
Oh, yeah.
The commander-in-chief. He's sitting across the table, just smiling at you.
It is the ultimate military nightmare. We often talk about the fog of war, meaning, confusion or a lack of information on the battlefield. But this is different. This is what you might call the rod of war.
The rod of war, I like that.
Yeah, it's when the chain of command isn't just incompetent, but it's actively weaponized against its own best people.
And usually when we cover military history or historical fiction, we're talking about tactics.
Right. Flanking maneuvers, cavalry charges, that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. But this feels less like a war story and a lot more like a mafia thriller.
It really does.
Okay.
Because while there are definitely swords and spears involved, the real violence in Chapter 18 happens in whispered conversations and rigged courtrooms.
Yeah.
We are looking at a very specific moment at the Huanglong Pass, where these deep political vendettas threaten to destroy a military campaign before it even truly begins.
Before we get into all the backstabbing, literally and figuratively, we should probably set the stage for you listening.
Yeah.
What is the actual military situation here? Because the text just throws us right into the camp.
To understand the stakes, you really have to understand the era. We are dealing with the conflict between the Song dynasty and the Liao Empire, and this is not some minor border skirmish.
It's massive.
The Liao are an existential threat to the Song. They are powerful, they're highly militarized, and very aggressive. So the Song army is camped at the Huanglong Pass, essentially trying to stop an invasion that could wipe them off the map entirely.
So national survival is quite literally on the line. You would think that would be enough to get everybody on the same page. Like, let's save the country first, and we can argue about our personal issues later.
Or you would think that. But human beings are rarely that logical, especially when absolute power is involved. The Song army is deeply divided. On one side, you have the commander-in-chief, Grand Preceptor, Pan Renmei.
The ultimate bad boss.
Oh, he is the archetype of the treacherous minister in the text.
Mm-hmm.
He holds this deep blood feud grudge against the Yang family.
And on the other side, we have the Yang family themselves. You got Yang Ye, the patriarch, and his son, Yang Yanzhao. These are the guys on the posters.
Right, the heroes.
The ones who are actually out there winning the fights.
Correct. And caught right in the middle of this mess is our third major player, Huyanzhen. He is an older general, very experienced, and he holds the official title of Protector or Guarantee Officer.
Which is such a weird title.
It is. His job, mandated by the emperor himself, is essentially to make sure Pan Renmei doesn't, quote-unquote, accidentally let the Yang family die in combat.
Which, if you think about it for a second, is a crazy job description.
Yeah.
Go to war, beat the enemy, but also you need to babysit your commanding officer so he doesn't murder your best general.
It just shows exactly how dysfunctional the Song court is at this time. I mean, the emperor knows Pan Renmei hates Yang Ye, but he puts them in the same army anyway and just sends a third guy to referee the whole thing. It is an absolute recipe for disaster.
And that disaster starts immediately. The text describes the camp layout right at the start. Huyanzhen is stationed on the east wall. Pan Renmei is on the west wall. And Pan is holding what I can only really describe as a council of villains.
It is a conspiracy meeting, plain and simple. Pan Renmei gathers his inner circle, Lulunki He Guoju Qinzhao King. And these aren't brilliant strategists planning how to beat the Liao army.
They're basically just yes men.
Exactly. Pan is just venting to them. He says, I hate Yang Ye, I want to destroy him. But Huyanzhen is constantly in the way.
But wait, I have to ask about this. Pan Renmei is the Grand Preceptor. He is the supreme commander of the entire army. Why does he need a whole convoluted scheme? Can't he just order Yang Ye to charge a suicide position? Or, fire him? Why the cloak and dagger?
That is the catch. He has the authority, but he doesn't have the cover. If he blatantly murders a beloved national hero like Yang Ye, even the emperor cannot ignore that.
Oh, because Huyanzhen is right there.
Right. Huyanzhen is there specifically to witness everything that happens. If Pan acts too openly, Zhan will just report him directly to the capital. So Pan needs a way to kill Yang Ye that looks like a tragic accident of war.
Enter the guy with the plan. Instructor Mei.
Yes, Instructor Mei. He is fascinating because he represents that classic evil advisor trope. He is the brains behind Pan's malice. And he proposes this really ruthless piece of logic. He says, if you want to kill the Yang family, you can't go through them. You have to remove their shield first.
Meaning Huiyanzan.
Precisely. Mi argues that Huiyanzan, while he's a total legend, is old. So the plan is to send Zan out to fight the Liao army first. Totally alone.
So the plan is basically send him out, promise him backup, and then just sit on our hands.
That is exactly it. Instructor Mi explicitly says when he is in the heat of battle, hold back the troops and do not rescue him. He will surely be captured by the barbarian soldiers.
Wow.
It is death by omission. They're essentially using the Liao army as their own personal hit squad.
That is incredibly cold. It's treason, really. They're willing to lose a top general and potentially lose the entire battle just to clear the board for their personal grudge. So how do they get an experienced veteran like Huiyanzan to agree to this? Because he has to smell a rat, right?
Oh, they completely play on his honor. Reports come in that the Liao army is approaching the pass. Pan Renmei summons Huiyanzan and puts on this huge performance.
Right, playing the innocent commander.
Yeah, he acts all concerned. He says, oh no, the vanguard hasn't arrived. The enemy is here. What do we do? He actively puts the burden of duty entirely on Zan.
And Zan steps right up. He drops a line that I actually wrote down because it is so tough. He says, if soldiers come, generals block. If water comes, earth covers.
It is a very famous maxim in Chinese literature. It reflects a stoic acceptance of military reality. It basically means I will deal with whatever is right in front of me.
Yeah.
He knows Pan is up to something, but he cannot refuse a direct request to defend the camp. His duty to the country completely overrides his suspicion of his boss.
So Zan suits up, he rides out, and he immediately runs into the Liao general, Xiao Tilan. And right away, we see the age difference get weaponized. Xiao Tilan mocks him.
Yeah.
He basically says, aren't you way too old for this? You should be home napping, not out here looking for death.
This is pure psychological warfare. In these classic duels, morale is absolutely everything. Xiao Tilan is trying to make Zan doubt his own stamina before they even cross weapons.
But Zan doesn't crack at all.
Not even a little. He yells right back at him and they engage. The text says they fight for over 80 rounds.
Okay, let's stop there for a second. 80 rounds. To a modern listener, you hear that and it sounds like a boxing match that went on for an entire week. What does that actually mean in the context of these stories?
Right, it's not a boxing round. In classic Chinese military novels, a round isn't a specific time limit. It is an exchange of blows.
Okay.
A pass with the spear on horseback or a clash of swords. So 80 rounds is a marathon of a fight. It implies an immense level of skill and stamina. The text is telling us that despite his advanced age, Huiyanzan is a warrior of the highest possible tier. He is not losing this fight physically.
So the Liao general, Xiao Tilan, realizes he can't just beat the old man down. So he pulls a trick, he feigns defeat, and just runs away.
This is the Tuidaoji, the dragging sword stratagem.
Dragging sword.
Yeah, it is the oldest trick in the book, yet it works constantly. The writer pretends to flee in absolute panic, letting their weapon drag behind them in the dirt, so they look totally disorganized. The whole goal is to bait the pursuer into breaking their formation, chasing blindly, and exposing themselves.
And Zan falls for it.
He does, and this is where the real tragedy hits. In a normal functioning army, if a general chases a fleeing enemy, his backup immediately moves up to cover his rear. Zan chases Xiao Tilan, fully expecting Pan Renmei's forces to be riding right behind him.
But he looks back and the field is empty.
Just completely empty. Pan Renmei has locked the camp gates. Zan is completely unsupported out there, and because he chased the enemy too far, he rides straight into the real ambush. A second Liao force, led by a commander named Ye Luxian, cuts him off.
Now, it is a total disaster scenario. Zan is surrounded. His troops are getting absolutely decimated. The text says he tries to escape through these small paths in the woods, but he gets forced back onto the main road.
Right.
He is caught between the guy he was just chasing and the fresh army that just showed up.
This is the exact moment Pan Renmei has been waiting for. The protector is about to die. And if Huiyanzan dies right here, there is literally no one left to stop Pan from killing the young family later.
It looks hopeless. But then, and I absolutely love a good cavalry arrival, the text says suddenly from the east, flags rolled up like clouds and the sound of drums shook the sky.
It is the ultimate heroic entrance, and it's not Pan Renmei having a sudden change of heart.
No, definitely not him. It's Yang Ye.
Yes, Yang Ye arrives. And he doesn't just arrive, he dominates the battlefield.
Yeah, the text describes him charging in and engaging a Liao subgeneral named He Yunlong. And let me tell you, it is not 80 rounds this time.
No, it is barely a few seconds. The
Huh.
text literally says Yang Ye raised his hand and the sword fell. He Yanlong is cut down instantly.
Wow.
This serves to establish Yang Ye's martial prowess. He is just on a completely different level compared to everyone else on the field.
The Yang forces smash through the encirclement. They grab Huyanzan. But I want to highlight something you mentioned in our notes about the son Yang Yanzhao. Because while the dad is doing this flashy, high-profile rescue, the son is doing something really difficult behind the scenes.
Yes, Yang Yanzhao is fighting the rearguard action.
Right.
In any retreat, the rearguard is the absolute most dangerous position to be in. You have to hold the door open while everyone else leaves, meaning you are the very last one exposed to the enemy forces.
That's intense.
It really shows the incredible discipline of the Yang family troops. They don't just rout the enemy, they execute this highly complex rescue and extraction operation perfectly.
So they get back to camp. Huyanzan is safe. He's really humble about it, too. He tells Yang Ye, I would be dead if you hadn't come. And Yang Ye actually apologizes for being late.
Which is just incredible polite irony. I mean, he saved the day.
Yeah.
But that apology, that specific word, late, is exactly what triggers the next segment. And this is where the shifts from a battlefield action movie into a tense courtroom drama.
Right. You would naturally assume the commander would be happy. Hey, great job. You saved our guarantee officer. We won the skirmish. But Pan Renmei is absolutely furious.
He is furious because his perfect trap failed. He wanted Zan dead. Now Zan is alive, and even worse, Yang Ye is the big hero of the day. So Pan goes back and consults his crony Lu Junqi again.
Back to the yes-men.
Exactly. And Liu points out a loophole. He says, forget the victory. Look at the clock. Yang Ye arrived after the battle started. That violates military timing regulations.
This is terrifying. They are totally weaponizing the rulebook.
Yeah.
Pan Renmei summons Yang Ye, who, let's remind everyone, just rode back from saving the entire army and officially accuses him of violating orders.
It is a classic letter of the law versus spirit of the law situation. Pan ignores the context completely. He demands to know, why were you late? And Yang Yi calmly explains, I was following the emperor's orders to gather troops in Shangzhou. I left on the 13th. I got here exactly as fast as logistics allowed.
That sounds like a completely valid defense.
Yeah.
I was literally doing the paperwork the emperor gave me.
In a fair court, it would be a perfect defense. But this is a kangaroo court. Pan screams that Yang Ye's delay caused the army to struggle. He completely ignores the fact that he intentionally didn't send his own backup.
Right, he caused the struggle.
Exactly. He ignores the rescue. He just focuses relentlessly on the timestamp. He yells to the guards, take him down and behead him at the camp gates.
Just like that. No trial,
Yeah.
no appeal.
In this era, under strict military law, the commander actually has the right of summary execution for disobedience on the field.
Oh, wow.
Pan is technically within his rights, which is what makes it so horrifying. He is using the literal law to commit outright murder.
Yang Ye shouts out a defense, and it is honestly heartbreaking. He doesn't even beg for his own life. He says, I don't care about dying, but killing a good general while the enemy is right at the border, this is bad for the country.
He appeals to patriotism. He genuinely thinks Pan Renmei must care about winning the war at least a little bit, but he is dead wrong. Pan doesn't care at all. The execution is proceeding.
But someone else hears this shouting. Huyanzan, the man who was just rescued.
And this is the major turning point. Zan is injured, he is exhausted, but he hears that his savior is being dragged out to be executed. He rushes out to the tent. He literally pushes the executioners aside and unties Yang Ye himself. Then he storms right into Pan Renmei's tent.
I love this confrontation scene. Huyanzan does not hold back at all. He destroys Pan verbally. He says, you sat there and watched. You didn't send one single soldier to help me. If Yang Ye hadn't come, we would all be dead. And now you want to kill him.
It is the brutal truth that everyone in the camp knows but is too afraid to say out loud. But Zan knows words aren't enough to stop a man like Pan Renmei, so Huyanzan finally plays his trump card. He brings up the golden mace, the Jin Jin.
Okay, we definitely need to unpack this. The golden mace. Is this just a really nice weapon? Like, is he threatening to physically hit him with it? Or is it something more symbolic?
It is much, much more than a weapon. In Chinese opera and folklore, the golden mace given by the emperor is a Shangfeng Baojian. It is an artifact of ultimate imperial authority. It represents the physical presence of the emperor himself.
So it's kind of like diplomatic immunity combined with his super warrant.
That is a great way to put it. Possessing it means Huyanzan has the explicit authority to strike down disloyal ministers without needing any prior permission from the capital. When he holds that mace, he vastly outranks Pan Renmei.
That changes everything.
He essentially tells Pan, The emperor gave me this specifically to protect the Yang family. If you violate that mandate, I am authorized to kill you right here where you sit.
He actually threatens a duel right. He says he will turn his face.
Yes, he says, if you persist, I will fight you to the death. And because he holds the mace, that fight would be legally sanctioned. It wouldn't be considered a mutiny. It would be deemed cleaning the court.
And Pan Renmei absolutely knows this.
He knows it for a fact. The text says his face turns red and he just shuts his mouth. He is deeply shamed, but more importantly, he is terrified. He knows he can't win a physical fight against Zan, and he knows he cannot win a legal argument against the Golden Mace.
So Pan finally backs down,
Yeah.
Yang Ye is released, crisis averted.
For about 5 minutes. Because as we have seen, Pan Renmei and Instructor Mi do not give up. They just pivot to a new strategy.
Pan is humiliated. He is sitting there just stewing in his tent. But Instructor Mi comes up with Plan B.
Right. Mimi analyzes the failure. Why didn't Yang Ye die? Because Huyanzan was there to stop the execution. The Golden Mace is the real problem. So the cold logic dictates if you can't kill the protector, you must physically separate him from the target.
And the excuse they come up with to do this is actually pretty smart. It is really hard to argue against. They use logistics.
Grain. An army marches on its stomach after all. Instructor Mei points out that the camp is genuinely running low on food. They need someone to go all the way back to the capital Bianjing to transport new grain supplies.
And of course, there is only one man responsible and trustworthy enough for such a critical mission, Huyanzan.
It is the absolute perfect trap. If Zan refuses the order, he is actively disobeying a direct command and endangering the entire army's food supply. If he accepts, he has to leave the camp and leave Yang Ye behind.
Now, Zan isn't stupid. He knows exactly what this is. The text says he is depressed and unhappy. He tells Yang Ye bluntly, Pan Renmei has a wolf's heart. He wants to hurt you. If I leave, who's going to stop him?
And this is the deep, tragic irony of the Yang family story. Yang Ye is the one who actually convinces Zan to go.
Wait, why? Why would Yang Ye tell his only bodyguard, his only shield, to leave him completely alone with a known murderer?
Because Yang Ye is the ultimate loyal general. To him, the survival of the army comes first. If the troops don't have food, the war is lost and the country falls. He tells Zan the country's affairs are heavy. He prioritizes the mission over his own personal survival.
That's dedication.
He genuinely thinks, I will just stay in my tent, I will follow every single rule to the letter, and I'll just play defense until you get back.
He thinks he can outbehave a man who doesn't care about the rules at all.
Exactly. He assumes Pan Renmei has some sort of limits. He is tragically wrong.
So Huyanzan takes 5,000 light cavalry and he rides out. And the image we are left with is chilling. The shield is gone. The golden mace is gone. And now it is just Yang Ye totally alone in the camp with the man who tried to execute him an hour ago.
It perfectly sets the stage for the massive tragedy that follows in the later chapters. All the checks and balances have been completely removed.
It is so frustrating to watch play out. You have the good guys constantly constrained by their own morals. They have to obey orders. They have to get the grain. They have to follow procedure. And the bad guys are just perfectly weaponizing those exact morals against them.
That is the core theme of the entire Yang Jijiang saga. It is not just an action story about fighting barbarians on the frontier. It is fundamentally about the struggle of the loyal general operating inside a deeply corrupt system.
Yeah.
Yang Ye's greatest strength, which is his unshakable loyalty, is also his fatal flaw. A more selfish man, a more ambitious man would have just taken his army and marched on the capital to forcibly remove Pan. But Yang Ye will not do that.
He plays the game by the rules, even when he knows for a fact the game is rigged.
So imagine for a second that you are just the absolute best at what you do. I mean, you are a total legend. You've spent decades building this flawless reputation as a fearless protector.
Yeah, the kind of person your enemies actually have nightmares about.
Right. But then, out of nowhere, you get an order from your boss to do something that, with like 100% certainty is going to destroy you.
And the real kicker is you realize your boss isn't just incompetent. He's actively trying to get you killed because he's jealous of your reputation.
It's such a brutal dilemma. Do you follow the order and walk right into a trap, or do you refuse and get branded a traitor?
It's the ultimate no-win scenario. A real Kobayashi Maru, but, with actual lives at stake.
And look, I know a lot of you out there are already familiar with the Yang family saga. It's the backbone of so much folklore. But we aren't just doing a simple retelling today.
No, we really want to surgically unpack the death of the patriarch Yang Ye at the Battle of Chenjiagu.
Exactly. How it all went so wrong. We're looking at the mechanics of the betrayal.
Because it's a tragedy in the classical sense, isn't it? You have a hero, a villain, a fatal flaw, and this destiny that just feels completely unavoidable.
Yeah, we're not just talking about swords and arrows here. We are talking about office politics turned deadly, specific military blunders, and the psychology of a commander who literally burns down his own army just to settle a petty score.
It really is a complex web. You have a conspiracy back in the capital, you have secret letters being sent to the enemy, and you have this strategic disagreement that basically turns into a massacre.
Renmei.
Right.
He is the commander-in-chief. He's the guy calling the shots. But he has this massive chip on his shoulder regarding the Yang family.
He does. And the source material actually gives us a very specific trigger for why things blow up right at this moment.
Oh, right.
Hu Yanzan has returned to the capital, Bianjing. So he decides he needs to act against Yang Ye immediately, like right now. Well, he still has direct command authority over him.
I remember the text describes his reaction to this news as unbearable joy, which is just chilling.
It's incredibly dark.
I mean, he isn't happy because the Song army is winning the war. He's happy because he sees a very narrow window to kill his rival.
He decides to initiate a battle, not for any strategic gain, but simply to create a scenario where Yang Ye can be eliminated.
And this is where it crosses the line from, bad leadership to straight up treason. He doesn't just order a march. He actually opens a direct communication channel with the enemy.
This is the smoking gun of the whole text. Pan Renmei writes a letter of war and sends a messenger to deliver it to the Liao general, Xiao Telan.
Wow.
Now, on the surface, this looks like a formal, honorable challenge. Let's fight tomorrow. But subtextually, he is basically coordinating his schedule with the invasion force.
He's telling them, hey, I'm serving up my absolute best general on a silver platter at this specific time and place. Be ready.
Exactly. And the Liao general, Xiao Telan, is no fool. When he gets this letter, he gathers his own generals to analyze the situation. And this is really where you see the massive competence gap between the two sides.
Yeah, Pan Renmei is playing petty office politics, and the Liao commanders are playing 4D chess. They realize immediately that this is a trap for Yang Ye, not for them.
Xiao Telan essentially tells his staff, look, Pan Rai is a joke. I'm not worried about him at all. But Yang Ye and his sons, they are peerless in bravery. They are the actual threat here.
Their intelligence is just spot on.
It is. They know there's severe friction in the Song Command, and they decide to ruthlessly exploit it. So they look at the map to find the absolute perfect kill zone.
And they settle on a place called Chenjiagu, Chen Family Valley.
Because geography is destiny in warfare. They identify Chenjiagu, which the text describes as being about 1 wang away.
Wait, I wanted to ask you about that measurement. 1 wang. What is that? Is that a long march, or is it basically next door?
In this military context, you can think of it as the Goldilocks zone.
Okay.
It's far enough that the Song army has to extend their lines and exhaust themselves a bit to get there, but it's close enough to successfully lure them in during a single engagement. The terrain itself is described as having these steep, incredibly dangerous mountains on both sides, with a deep, narrow valley right in the middle. It's basically a natural amphitheater for an ambush.
A kill box.
A classic kill box. And the Liao plan is incredibly disciplined. They assign General Yeli Yusijian to take 6,000 cavalry and just hide them in the hills. They are the hammer.
But a trap is totally useless if the mouse doesn't walk into it. They need bait.
Enter Yeli Yusidi.
Right.
Yeli Yusidi is assigned 10,000 horsemen. His job is arguably the most dangerous one in the whole operation. He has to ride out, engage Yang Ye, who, remember, is a terrifyingly skilled warrior, and then pretend to lose.
The feigned retreat. I mean, we see this in historical movies all the time. But is it actually that hard to pull off in real life?
It is incredibly difficult to execute. Sun Tzu talks about simulating disorder. If you run away too fast, the enemy immediately smells a rat and halts.
Makes sense.
But if you run away too slow, you actually just get slaughtered for real. You have to fight convincingly, take some actual casualties, and then break formation in a way that looks like genuine panic.
So he really has to sell it.
He has to be Oscar-worthy. The text even notes that because the Yang family knows the art of war so thoroughly, Shidi's performance has to be absolutely flawless.
So the trap is set, the enemy is ready and waiting. Now we cut back to the Song camp. Pan Renmei calls a war council. And this scene, this is the part that frustrates me the most when reading this. He orders Yang Ye to lead the vanguard.
And Yang Yi immediately tries to stop it. He doesn't just say he has a bad feeling about it. He gives Pan Renmei 3 very specific, professional military reasons why this is a suicide mission.
Let's break these down because this is where we really see Yang Ye's genius as a commander. His first objection is astrology.
Yes, he says tomorrow is a 10 evils big defeat day.
Or Shidida Bairi.
Which, to a modern listener, sounds a bit like superstition. You might think, who cares about the stars when you have an army? Sure, but in ancient Chinese warfare, this was considered hard military science.
It's data.
Exactly, it's psychological data. If your troops firmly believe the heavens are against them, morale collapses before the very first arrow is even fired. Fighting on a big defeat day is like trying to launch a major product on Christmas Day. The environment is just completely wrong.
He's saying the timing violates the cosmic order of battle.
Okay, so reason one, the timing is cursed. What is reason number two?
Logistics. Yang Yi points out that their supply officer, Huyan, hasn't actually arrived with the provisions yet. This is basic, fundamental military doctrine. You simply do not march an army into a major engagement on an empty stomach with 0 resupply lines.
Right, it's like starting a massive construction project when the concrete hasn't even been delivered yet. You were literally setting yourself up to fail.
And reason number 3 is his assessment of the enemy's current state. Yang Yi says the Liao forces are currently too sharp or too keen.
Meaning they're highly motivated. Yes. In strategy, you avoid the enemy when their spirit is at its highest.
Yeah.
You wait for them to get bored or tired or homesick. Attacking them when they are fresh and highly motivated is just foolish.
So he has a really solid case. Bad timing, no food, enemy's too strong, let's wait. How does Pan Renmei react to all this logic?
He doesn't engage with the logic at all. He attacks the man.
Of course.
He accuses Yang Yi of having a sharp spirit only when it comes to avoiding battle. He basically calls him a coward in front of everyone.
That has to sting for a legendary general.
It's pure manipulation. And then Pan plays his trump card. He says, if you delay and don't go out, I will report you to the imperial court.
And there it is, the chain of command fully weaponized. If Yang Yi refuses, he's a traitor to the emperor. If he goes, he's dead.
It's the heavy burden of the loyal official.
Mm.
Yang Yi realizes he has been completely checkmated by his own side. He tells him he isn't afraid of death, but, and this is crucial, he tries to build one last safety net. He proposes a compromise.
Because he knows it's a trap, right?
He predicts it perfectly. He tells Pan Renmei, look, Chenjiagu is highly dangerous. The terrain absolutely screams ambush. I will go, but you need to do one specific thing for me.
He asks for backup.
Specifically, he asked Pan Renmei to station archers and crossbowmen at the mouth of the valley. The plan is sound. Yang Yi goes in as bait, lures the enemy out, and if things go completely south, he retreats to the valley mouth, where Pan's archers can cover his escape.
It's a very sound tactical adjustment, and Pan Renmei agrees to this.
He agrees to his face. He says, go. I will absolutely have the troops there waiting for you.
But as you read it, you just know this is a total lie.
It's a fatal lie.
So Yemiya leaves the tent to basically prepare for his own death. But there is one guy who actually speaks up. He Huaipu.
Huaipu is really the unsung hero of this chapter. He's just a subordinate officer, but he watches this entire meeting unfold, and he simply cannot stay silent. He confronts Pan Renmei directly.
Wow.
He says, what you are doing is prioritizing private revenge over the safety of the entire country.
That takes some serious guts. Telling the commander-in-chief that he's essentially a traitor right to his face.
It's incredibly dangerous.
Yeah.
He basically accuses Pan of treating the empire as a personal joke. But Pan Renmei's reaction is almost worse than anger. It's total indifference.
He just ignores.
He just gets up, ignores it. He Huaipu completely and walks right into his inner tent. He won't even acknowledge that the criticism was spoken.
So, Huaipu has a choice now. He voices objection. He could just stay in camp. He did his duty.
He could have. But this whole story is really about examining different shades of loyalty. Huaipu sighs and says, how can I bear to sit and watch him not be saged? He decides that since the institution has failed, he has to step up personally.
He volunteers for the suicide mission.
He rides out, catches up to Yang Yi, and offers to lead his own troops as the left and right wings. He knows the danger, but he simply wants to ensure that Yang Yi doesn't have to face the darkness alone. It's a profoundly moving moment of solidarity.
So dawn breaks. We are at Lanya village. The drums are shaking the ground. The atmosphere must be absolutely electric.
The text describes the Liao forces as covering the mountains and filling the wilderness. It's just a sea of enemies. And out rides Yeliushidi, the bait, holding this massive great axe.
And he doesn't just attack. He taunts them.
He yells, "Song generals, surrender quickly, otherwise I'll slaughter you all so nothing remains."
Yeah.
He is deliberately trying to spike Yang Ye's blood pressure.
And it totally works. Yang Ye is enraged. He calls Sidi a rebellious barbarian and charges at him. They fight for a few bouts, which usually means a quick, violent exchange of blows, and then Sidi triggers the plan. He turns his horse and runs. Okay, stop here. I need to challenge this part of the narrative. Yang Ye is a legendary seasoned general. He literally told Pan Renmei that there would be an ambush. He knows this is a trap. Why, in this specific moment, does he chase the bait?
It is the tragedy of the visual overriding the intellectual. The text carefully notes that Yang Ye looks at the terrain right there at Longye village and sees that it is flat and wild.
So he looks around and thinks, well, I don't see any ambushers hiding here.
Exactly. He gets severe tunnel vision. He thinks, okay, my prediction was wrong. The ground is flat here. This guy's running away.
Yeah.
Maybe we are actually winning this thing.
It's confirmation bias fueled by pure adrenaline.
Exactly. So he, his sons, and Hiwaipu all chase at full speed. They think they are pursuing a routed enemy, but they're actually sprinting right into the grave.
They chase him all the way to the mouth of Chenjiagu, and then the reality check hits.
The signal cannon fires. Boom. Xiao Talon is watching from the slope above. As soon as that cannon goes off, Yelyu Sijin's 6,000 cavalry swarm out from the hidden hills.
The trap snaps shut.
The Song forces are instantly surrounded. And this is the moment where the betrayal truly hits home. Yang Yi looks back at the valley mouth. He is desperately looking for those archers. He is looking for the safety net Pan Renmei promised him.
And what does he see?
It's completely empty, not a single Song soldier. Just the wind and the enemy closing in from all sides.
I can't even imagine that feeling. It's not just the fear of death. It's the sudden, sickening realization that you have been completely abandoned by your own people.
It is total, absolute isolation. The text says the arrows came down like rain. It's a slaughter. Yang Yi turns to fight his way out, but the exit is entirely blocked.
And now we start losing people. What happens to Hiwaipu, the guy who volunteered?
He runs directly into the bait general, Yelyu Shidi, who is turned around to fight for real now. It's brutal. Within 2 bouts, Hidi's great axe catches Hiwaipu. He's cut down right from his horse. One of the very few moral compasses in the story is just gone.
And Yang Ye's sons, we have Yang Yanzhao and Yang Yansu. They are right in the thick of this nightmare.
They are fighting desperately. Yan Zhao, the elder son, realizes they immediately need outside help. He tells his brother Yansu to break out, to go find Pan Renmei and beg for reinforcements. Yansu somehow manages to smash through the encirclement, which is a miraculous feat in itself, and rides off.
But the Yanzhao stays behind.
He stays. He says, "I'll kill my way into the valley to protect father." It's this incredibly heroic, almost cinematic image. He sees the killing energy connecting to the sky inside the valley, and instead of running away from it, he charges directly into it.
He actually carves a path through the enemy to reach his father.
He does. He spears a Liao officer named Chen Tianshu right off his horse and breaks deep into the valley. He finally finds Yang Ye, who is desperately fighting his way out of the east wall.
So for a brief, fleeting second, father and son are reunited in hell.
But Yang Ye tries to save his son. He tells Yan Zhao, "There are too many of them. You need to run. Don't let them capture both of us. If we both die here, who carries on the family line?"
But Yanzhao refuses to leave him.
He refuses. He tries to carve a blood road for his father to escape.
A blood road, that is such a visceral image.
It really is. But the numbers are just impossible to overcome. The Liao commander commits even more troops and physically splits the Song formation in 2. It's like a tidal wave coming in. Father and son are violently separated.
Oh.
Yan Zhao looks back. He can't see his father anywhere. He sees all his own soldiers are dead and realizes that if he stays, he dies for absolutely nothing. He is forced to retreat south to try and find reinforcements himself.
Which leaves Yang Ye completely alone.
Bloody, battered, and entirely alone. The text describes his robe as being reflected with blood, just completely soaked. He climbs up to a high point to survey the battlefield and just sees enemies everywhere, as far as the eye can see.
And he still has about 100 loyal soldiers left with him. This speech he gives them here is so important.
It reveals his core character perfectly. He doesn't order them to fight to the last man. He looks at them and says, "You all have fathers, mothers, wives, and children. You have lives to go back to. Dying here with me is completely useless. The emperor knows my loyalty. Run along the mountains. Go save yourselves."
He fully releases them from their duty. He's just trying to save their lives at this point.
He is. But they refuse to go. They weep and say, "The general came here for the king's business. How can we bear to return alive?" They actively choose to stay and die with him. That is the sheer level of leadership Yang Yi inspired.
So they move together to a place called Huyuan, and there, Yang Yi sees something, a stone monument.
This is really the literary climax of the whole chapter. He sees a stele inscribed with 3 characters. Li Ling Bei, the Li Ling Monument.
Okay, we definitely need to pause here. For those of you listening who aren't historians of the Han Dynasty, who exactly was Li Ling? Why is this specific stone so significant?
It is a massive historical reference. Li Ling was a very famous general from the Han Dynasty. Centuries before this Yang family story takes place, he fought the Huns, the Jiangnu. And just like Yang Ye, he was vastly outnumbered. Just like Yang Ye, he was completely cut off from his support.
But how did his story end?
Well, Li Ling eventually surrendered to the enemy in order to save the lives of his remaining men.
And how does history view him for doing that?
It's very complicated. Some view him as a deeply tragic figure. But in the strict Confucian code of loyalty, he is very often seen as a failure because he didn't die for his emperor. He lived out his days in shame among the barbarians.
So Yang Ye is standing there, covered in blood, in front of a monument dedicated to a general who chose to surrender. It's literally like a mirror from the past confronting him.
Exactly. It's a symbolic test of his resolve. Yang Yi looks at the stone and says, Han Li Ling was not loyal to the country. What use is this?
He rejects the comparison completely.
He refuses to share Li Ling's fate. He realizes this is the absolute end. He looks at his remaining soldiers and says, I cannot protect you anymore. This place is where I report to my master.
Report to my master. He means the emperor, but in this moment, it really feels like he's talking about the heavens.
Yes, it elevates to the spiritual. He takes off his gold helmet. He cries out to royal heaven to witness his pure heart. And then he strikes his own head against the stone monument.
He commits suicide.
He dies to preserve his integrity. He flat out refuses to be captured. He refuses to be used as a bargaining chip or a trophy for the enemy. He ends it on his own terms.
That is just incredibly heavy. And what happens to the remaining soldiers?
After Yang Yi dies, the Liao soldiers rush in. The remaining Song troops fight to the very death. Not a single one of them surrenders. The Liao general eventually takes Yang Yi's head as proof of victory, and the battle ends as the sun goes down.
It really brings up that poem referenced in the text. At the mouth of Chenjiagu, the horses could not return. Under the Li Ling monument, great integrity was established.
It highlights the stark contrast beautifully, doesn't it? The trap worked perfectly. Pan Renmei got exactly what he wanted. Yang Ye is dead. But in dying the way he did, Yang Yi won the ultimate moral victory. He became a timeless martyr.